Call the meeting to order. We have full attendance. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time, the place, the meeting, the proposed agenda, which notice was posted, made available in newspapers and filed with the clerk of the town of Clinton in accordance with section 3D of chapter 231 of the public laws of 1975. And before I read the next statement, I forgot to do the flag salute. So please join me in the flag salute. Okay. I got the flag right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, I got a little out of order there. NJSA 10:4-B authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings through the use of streaming services and other online meeting platforms. Recently adopted Public Law 2020, Chapter 11 amends OPMA, Open Public Meetings Act, to clarify that in times of emergency, public bodies may vote, accept public comment, and cause a meeting to be open to the public via electronic means. Town of Clinton is using Zoom video meetings, and please be aware that this meeting is being recorded for the public record. Zoom is imperfect, so if glitches pop up, please be patient. We will address all questions and general comments after the governing body has conducted business and shared reports. We will take comments during the public hearing of any ordinances on the agenda. Councilman Mike Humphrey will be moderating questions and comments on Zoom. Please use the chat feature to indicate that you wish to be recognized. Feel free going forward to email councilmeeting@clintonnj.gov with any questions or concerns between meetings or questions you would like answered during future meetings. You must provide your name and address to be recognized for comment. We ask that you keep your device muted until called upon by the council. The meeting's moderator may also mute participants. Mayor and council will respond to all votes using chats. As always, please feel free to reach out to me at jkovach@clintonnj.gov or 908-399-8921. Okay. First is the approval of the minutes of the council meeting of April 8th. Everyone, for those yes, no, or abstain. Oh, wait a minute, I lost my chat. Sorry.
We have 7 yeses, Mayor.
All right, great. And for the council update meeting minutes that are available for viewing on the website, which would be March 19, 20, 23, 24, 27, 31, April 3rd, 7, 10, 14, and 17. All those in favor, opposed, or abstentions?
Okay, 7.
All right.
We're good.
Is there any public on the who has anything that's not currently on the agenda? Great. No? All right, I just have a couple of quick updates. Today's numbers in Hunterdon County, 447 confirmed cases and 21 deaths. For those of you that are not aware, at 7 o'clock today, Jersey for Jersey started the live concert. It is on every station imaginable, as well as streaming for those that are interested. At 9 p.m., HQ Trivia, which is an app, will be Jersey-focused trivia. So that'll be very cool. The state purchased 500 ventilators, and these will stay within our stockpile. They don't belong to, they will not go back to the federal government. These are just owned by the state. We now have 86 testing sites available. The governor should be opening up or sharing the plan to open up phase 1 either tomorrow or Friday during his press conference. Congressman Malinowski is sponsoring HR 6467, which is the next round of hopeful funding that could come directly to municipalities and counties that did not qualify under any of the previous rounds. He is doing a letter that will go directly to leadership, and Town of Clinton will be included as part of that. I sent him what some of our concerns would be as far as the impacts to our budget going forward, not just this year, but next year as well. County EMS calls tripled from April 2019 to April 2020. The county introed their budget and they have a flat tax rate. Their adoption will be on May 19th. Let's see. Unemployment. So apparently there's been one of the issues with unemployment, and I think we may have talked about this on one of the other calls. If a resident doesn't say that they are looking for work when they certify, then they automatically get bumped and their unemployment is denied. So even though we know that they're not looking for work, they still need to certify that they're looking for work. And a little bit of good news, we got an email, Rich and I got an email today from Republic, and bulk service will resume on Tuesday. What we're gonna ask, and I'll put together an email that can go out, but you know, everyone I know has been cleaning out and storing. So if we could just maybe bring stuff out slowly so we don't inundate them all on the first day, because it's gonna take some time for them to catch up with everything. But that will be resuming effective on Tuesday. And that is all I have on my notes. So, first is a water refund in the amount of, I think, what is it, $64? If I'm not mistaken. Go back.
6144.
61.44. Thank you. Can I have a motion?
I motion. Oh, Mike, and that's Mike.
Seconded, Lisa.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed or abstentions? In chat?
We have 6 votes, 7. No, we have 7 votes, all yes.
All right, great. Next is Resolution 85-20, and this is a change order for the West Main Street project. It's a decrease in the amount of $1,648.86. Can I have a motion?
This is Riley, a motion.
Jerry, second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed or abstaining?
Seven yeses.
Great. I like what you gave Maren, paparazzi.
No, that she came in like that.
You came in as paparazzi. I think that's very cool. Next is Resolution 86-20, and this is a resolution that was also done in Frenchtown, and they forwarded it to us. This is a resolution of support of the HR 6467. Can I have a motion?
This is Riley, I'll make a motion.
Megan, second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed or abstentions?
7 yeses.
Great. Next is Resolution 87-20, and this is a water reservation request for the town center at Lebanon. Can I have a motion?
A Mike motion.
Jerry, second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed or abstentions?
7 yeses, Mayor.
Great. Next is Resolution 88-20, and this is a water reservation for the Quick Check in Union Township. Can I have a motion?
This is Lisa, so moved. Riley, second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed or abstain?
Especially because they need that water to put out the fire, right? Anyways, 7 yeses.
Next is Resolution 89-20. This is the water reservation for the Marukian project in Clinton Township. This is their affordable housing project. Can I have a motion?
Megan, moved.
Who's that?
It was Megan.
Oh, okay.
Jerry, second.
All right, all those in favor, opposed, or abstentions?
All right, 7 yeses.
All right. Resolution 90-20, and this is the estimated third quarter taxes. This is so when Kathy can send out the tax bill as estimated for the August 1 tax bill. Can I have a motion?
Megan moved.
Megan.
Ross, second.
All right. All those in favor, opposed, or abstentions?
7 yeses, Mayor.
Great. Resolution 91-20 goes on next agenda. The public hearing now for the ordinance 20-10, which is our bond ordinance. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
This is Riley. I'll make a motion.
Mike,
Sherry,
second.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Is there anything from the public on the bond ordinance?
We have 7 yeses, Mayor.
Okay. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. It's Sherry.
This is Lisa, seconded.
All right. All those opposed, approve, or abstain?
7 yeses, Mayor.
All right. Can I have a motion to adopt the bond ordinance 20-10?
Sherry, so moved.
Riley, second.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
So you don't do a roll call?
Just need, well, I can read off the roll if you want.
Yeah.
Okay,
Michael, we'll roll to you.
Councilwoman Lisa Interpatola, yes. Councilwoman Sherry Deneen, yes. Mayor Janice Kovac, yes. Councilman Ross Traphagen, yes. Councilman Michael Humphrey, yes. Councilwoman Riley Karsh, yes. And Councilwoman Megan Johnson, yes.
Great, thanks. Thank you.
Next is the public hearing on ordinance 20-11, which is our CAP ordinance. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Mike, motion.
Sherry, second.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed or abstentions? Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I don't have all the votes.
Oh, sorry.
My internet is not cooperating, so.
Yeah, you're jumping in and out, Megan.
Okay, now she's in. So that's 7 yeses.
Okay. Is there anything from the public? Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Sherry, so moved.
Riley, second.
Okay. All those in favor, opposed, or abstentions?
I have 7 yeses.
All right. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 20-11?
Megan, so moved.
Lisa, seconded.
Okay. All those in favor, Michael, do the roll call. Opposed or abstentions?
Okay, we have 6 votes. I'm waiting. We have 7 now. Okay. Councilwoman Sherry Deneen, yes. Councilwoman Lisa Interpatola, yes. Councilman Michael Humphrey, yes. Councilwoman Riley Karsh, yes. Mayor Janice Kovac, yes. Councilwoman Megan Johnson, yes. Councilman Ross Traphagen, yes.
All right, great. Next is the introduction, of ordinance 20-12, and this is the West Main Street water replacement. And this will have a public hearing on May 13th. It will be going in the daily paper so that we can do a 2-week turnaround. And this is so because the project came in higher than we initially did the ordinance for. This is to cover us for that. So can I have a motion to intro?
This is Riley. I'll move.
All right. Can I have a
Sherry,
second?
second.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed or abstentions?
We have 7 yeses.
Great. And again, the public hearing for this will be on May 13th. Next is the introduction of ordinance 20-13, and this is updating the salary ordinance to account for OEM and paying overtime and hourly wages to individuals who are involved in our OEM initiative. Since this is kind of the first time, obviously the chief has been putting in a huge amount of hours, as has his deputy. And we also brought back Jay, and Rich has also been working on it. So what this will do is modify our salary ordinance so that we can pay them for the hours and then get reimbursed through FEMA. So can I have a motion to intro ordinance 20-13?
This is Lisa, so moved.
A second?
Sherry, second.
All right. All those in favor?
Does this need to be roll call?
No.
No, it's only intro.
Okay. 7 yeses, Mayor.
All right, great. And this will also be on the May 13th agenda where we'll put in the resolution to solidify the salaries. We don't have any correspondence, do we, Seal?
No.
All right,
Nothing.
great. All right, awesome. So we'll start with reports. Chief.
I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Gotcha. Guess there's a couple things I'll touch on. Basically, I put out a situation report every week. Chris and I complete that, and for the fire department, the rescue squad, and the police department. So we're all staffed. We have a couple in quarantine, more over precautious than anything, and a couple out sick, not one positive, and that's really it. So we're 100% functional in the emergency services department. We've been getting our requests fulfilled through the county when we need it. Not always everything we ask for, but when we do ask for our masks and solutions and gowns and stuff, mainly most of it, probably 90% of it's been going to the rescue squad. Obviously, they use more than the rest of us. But we've been basically getting them fulfilled from the county OEM. So we have not been having a problem. That's been working out pretty good. I did want to point out something that, in case anyone else heard, the testing sites throughout Bergen County and the PNC Arts Center, they had said, I don't know why, but it came out that they were going to be testing everybody, including asymptomatic people. That's not true. In case you heard that, it's only symptomatic people. So. But that had surfaced during our OEM and our state meeting this morning, just so if anyone heard that. On the 8th of February, of this month, we submitted our request for public assistance. I submitted that through OEM also, so we are in FEMA's loop. So we're kind of in standby mode for that, other than we're collecting all the information we need as far as man hours, materials, and supplies that we're using through OEM and for the different entities in town. Basically, the only thing that we've really spent total, we're probably looking at about $4,300, which is way over my OEM budget, but that's really all we're at so far, and that doesn't include our man hours for the police department, that's the bulk of it. The only expense that we'll see manpower wise, which you are tracking, is a limited amount with the road department, possible with the water department at times. So it's very limited. Rich has been helping me with a lot of stuff too. And then the police department comes the bulk of it, because being the OEM coordinator and the chief gives me the luxury of having 10 officers to help me carry out the duties of OEM. I'm also going to attempt to put in their time to FEMA to get reimbursed also, because it looks like that's going to be a category that's going to be acceptable within FEMA from what I've been researching and what I've been hearing. I'm kind of learning some of this as I go also. So it looks like we'll probably be able to recoup even some of the pay because it was directly utilized for this event. So that's probably the only other thing is Tara's drafting up extension or renewing our declaration of emergency. We're just basically reissuing it just like the state did every 30 days to make sure that the Office of Emergency Management retains its authority, I guess. So Tara could probably explain that better, but we're just going to redo that. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Rich?
Business as usual. As Corey said, we've been helping out from the administration and public works side with anything he needs. We've been fully staffed in all of our departments. We're preparing our normal seasonal work, like special leaf collections next week. Hydrant flushing is going to start in 2 weeks. So basically, it's business as usual. We're just using less resources. That's all.
All right. Kathy?
Nothing to report.
All right. Megan?
On the, am I freezing?
Yeah, you're freezing up.
Hold on, I'll back out of my video. Hold on. I think I'm frozen. Does that help?
Well, we can hear you.
Hear
Yeah.
you. Okay. So with sewer, we've approved for the beginning of the construction of the building. When that will start, we're not really sure. So we're going through approval for that. I'm not sure if Rich has heard any updates from that.
We actually have a pre-con meeting tentatively scheduled for next week via Zoom.
Okay, great. Then with Parks and Recreation, we met. I think I pretty much updated everything for that, unless I'm missing anything, Lisa, if you can think of anything. I think we updated everything on the last meeting.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I believe we went over everything. I mean, I'm still going to get together all that information and push it out in an email. But basically, like we had said, everything is postponed for now. We're just waiting to hear from Governor Murphy as to what's happening with the schools to be able to make a decision about summer recreation. And Kathy, I heard from Mayor Kovach that you're aware that there could be a lot of refunds coming.
Yes, I am.
So
Let's hope
that's where
not.
we're at.
I'm shaking, by the way, I have no video on, but I'm shaking my head yes, like everybody can see me. I'm like,
I
yes.
felt it. I felt it.
I feel it. So we just pushed out today the initiative that I was talking about, A World of Hearts. So it's on the community. It is really just a glimmer of hope in these really dark times. And we're asking for people to decorate their windows with hearts. If you Google it, there are a million different ways you can do that. So be creative and have fun with it. We're asking that you hashtag A World of Hearts and hashtag, that's all I have.
All right, great. And just so you know, too, on the governor's call today, while they wouldn't say absolutely, the expectation is that school is canceled through the remainder of the year, although they have not quite determined how they're going to address camps yet. So, for what?
Right. I think they're waiting on some guidance from the CDC as well, and I'm
Yes.
sure they're still waiting to hear about antibody testing and whatever could possibly come down the pike. But
Right.
That's a long shot.
It is, but we'll get there. Mike.
Not much to report. Councilman Trabhagen and I have put together an event for that's based on the elders, but it's really open to the entire community next Tuesday. And people can come on to Zoom and they get to tell their story and tell their little piece of history for Clinton. And we're recorded on Zoom, and it'll become like a living history. Because we're kind of missing a little bit of the history of the last 100 years. Our history is pretty well vetted out beforehand. So this is part of an entire effort that people in the Elders Committee wanted to do, which was starting to collect photos and pictures and stories. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Tara.
I don't have anything unless anyone has questions about the ordinance or renewing the emergency declaration, or if there's anything I am missing there.
Okay. I think, I don't even know at this point in time, I think.
What day?
Riley.
Thursday.
Sorry, I didn't know you said my name. I am listening. Hang on, I'm getting my notes. Okay, so the water committee met, and we discussed, and I'm not going to attempt to say the actual chemical names, but we discussed likely upcoming regulations around PFAS and PFOS, which are chemicals found in some water in some places. And so we're reprioritizing the asset management plan to address this potential regulation coming in the near future, and kind of how we're going to manage that as a water utility. And we're exploring different treatment options and which wells, would be the first ones to receive whatever treatment options we take. So I know it's a lot of vagueness, but that is what we're looking at right now. Of course, we continue to do water loss detection and water leak prevention measures, and continue along those lines as we go. So that's the gist of what's going on in the water utility. And the Economic Development Committee met via Zoom. And I have a semi-long report, so sorry, everybody. But, some good things coming down the pike. So an AARP grant came across my email about a week ago, which I sent to Mike for the Elders Committee to look at. And then they came back to me with a couple ideas, and then we sort of kick that back to the Economic Development Committee to talk about what we could do. And so this grant is really wide open, and it's essentially, it's what we're thinking of are ways we can improve the downtown that would also improve accessibility for seniors. And I think when a lot of people think seniors, they think elderly, and the AARP, which is apparently very hard to say, is not meant to think of the elderly. It's seniors who are active and, just, I don't think of it as elderly. I think of it as people who may be active and want to be out in the community and involved, and have some needs that could be met. So a couple ideas that were brought up in the committee, and that I want to bring to all of you to think about the viability of doing some of these things in the community going forward, obviously not today since we're closed, but in the future, are creating a downtown hotspot so that we have wireless internet access in the middle of town, which I think would be good for economic development, but also good for just people in general. Anyone who's visiting, anyone who lives here, it's an equity issue as well. And so that's one of the things we could look at funding through this grant. And a couple other ideas that I'm going to throw out there for people to think about and come back to us on if they have ideas or thoughts or don't want them to happen, are getting funding for a feasibility study or proposal for a small business incubator in the community, getting funding to improve some of the lighting and appearance of the crosswalks so that they're more obvious to people walking, so that they're even more, what's the word I want, Mike? You're good at this. Guess the
Visible?
word. More visible, thank you. So that they're even more visible than they already are. And there are some interesting ways that other communities have done that through this grant. So we could explore some of those things to make the town a destination. There's been some artistic things done that have made crossing areas. And Corey, I would, obviously you're very busy right now, so this is probably not top of the mind, but if we do go this route, I would want to talk to you about it. They've done some sort of almost like mural type things that draw your attention to a crossing, so that when you're driving, it stands out and you go, oh, there's something there, and you slow down. Part of me thinks that might be a little distracting as well. So I obviously would defer to your kind of opinion on whether that's a good idea or not. But I know there's a lot of communities that have done that through this grant, and it seems like an interesting option. So I don't know if you had a thought on that.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing in different towns. And I agree with you in the aspect that sometimes too much is, it's just too much and it becomes distracting for a driver. And I think from what I've seen, the best thing to do is kind of stay very traditional, but bright. Like you said, you can get the stamped crossings, which is a design. It looks nice, but again, that's probably more money and stuff. I don't know, but I like the lighting system that Rich and I had discussed. It was pretty bright. I've seen it work.
Yeah, and this funding might cover something like that because it's meant to improve accessibility, walking accessibility for people who might be otherwise, disabled or otherwise abled, and improve ADA accessibility. So it could be something that we could look to help offset some of the cost of doing something like that in the community. And then the one other thought that people had that I found interesting, but perhaps we would actually bring it to Go Hunter, and I'm not sure, is that we could look for the funding to explore some sort of proposal for how to run a jitney service through town and over to the bus to help people have some sort of mobility. Hang on one second, Mike. To go through town, not stopping all over the place, but have a couple of main pickup points, and then also go out to the bus and up to Walmart to help eliminate some of the pedestrian activity that we see that is either dangerous and or help some people who have mobility issues. So that's one of the things we were thinking. Yeah. Corey, yeah.
The link is pretty good around town. They make their stops at Walmart, Walgreens downtown. They kind of hit and the library. They swoop through town, so they're in it, and they do help with the mobility because they've got handicap access on the buses. So.
And I'm wondering if we could partner with them and find some of this, using some of this funding to find a way to expand that service or use that service to combine it with something for commuters so that it's not just, because I agree, they do a great job. I mean, they pick up my neighbors regularly. Well, not now, but they did. And they do a great job. I know a lot of people that use it, but we still have that issue of people walking up to Walmart where there's a mixture of sidewalks and not sidewalks. And then we have the issue of people walking to the bus where we have a mixture of sidewalks and not sidewalks. And we cross town lines, of course. So that's why I was wondering if it would be a good, communal project, less, not just the town of Clinton, but something that we could work on with Go Hunterdon and or Clinton Township or Franklin or some other town to kind of come up with a community solution.
Are there restrictions on for Link? Is it age restricted or no restrictions? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
And I would say, just so you know, Walter Wilson was also talking about something with that based on the Agway project. So, tap into to see what research he's already done.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yep.
Just keep in mind another thing is that the amount of Ubers and taxis that are operating in town. Seal and I were going over like our ordinance for taxis and trying to compare it to like Flemington, some other towns around us also that we have very little regulation on these taxis, and that's kind of a loose entity right now for the town. So not that we're looking to make money off of it, but at the same time, they're using our streets, coming in our town. It's wear and tear, and they're making money off of people in town. So it is something that we might have to look at licensing wise.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, we definitely need to kind of make sure that doesn't fall off the radar.
Okay.
Mike, you were going to say something?
Well, yeah, the grant proposal's due May 15th, and it has to be executed by November.
The work has to be done by November.
Right.
So, the reason that going with the idea of having a kind of hotspot for downtown pops out is one, it's interesting. It's something that would make our town stand out here. It also, there's an equity component. If people don't have Wi-Fi access, it provides some level of free access, which is great.
And it's also relatively, compared to some of the other things we're talking about, it's a little easier to implement. Obviously, there's some administrative issues to figure out, and who would monitor it, who would take care of it. And I'm sure Rich is already like, really, you're making me do more. But there are other towns are doing these sorts of things. So we can, we've worked together long enough, Rich, you don't even need to say it out loud. Other towns are doing these sorts of things. So I don't think this would require us to reinvent the wheel so much as like go and borrow somebody else's wheel and say, how did you do it? And do it in a similar way. So that's why that was kind of at the top of the pile. Does anyone have thoughts on doing something like that?
I think the hotspot's a great idea. I think it would really help in terms of bringing in, well, it may not bring in necessarily more tourism or more tourism dollars once we are back up and running, but would be a nice, I guess, addition to all the great shops and amenities downtown. So especially to be able to look, since we've been implementing districts, so that people can be using districts while they're in our district. It would be
Right.
nice.
I mean, it kind of goes along with the upgrades we're trying to do to our technology in general, but
Yeah. I agree. And I think making it more of a friendly environment for our seniors. And again, Mike and I were talking about this too, that seniors, we have to try and change the way we think of seniors.
Yeah.
Active seniors, and make this is a walking community, and there are going to be seniors that may move into the new building that's going to be down at the former AMP, and having a jitney service, something that's makes us stand out, especially to be able to get to the park and ride for the Trans Bridge would be a really great get. I think it's something that's been discussed multiple times, and if this in any way, shape, or form can help with that. I mean, I know just because of where I am on our side of town, when I was driving to and from work, when I would be coming home and it was dark, coming up Center Street, I can't tell you how many times I felt like I could have potentially hit somebody going very slowly because people are dressed in black and you can't see them. So being able to cut down on some of that would be ideal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I was wanted to say, well, I think the hotspot is an awesome idea. Am I stuck?
A little bit, but
hold on. I think the hotspot's an awesome idea, but the jitney service I think is huge because us in the Knolls are completely cut off. We can't, it's hard for people on this side of town, mind you, all the way over where Twin Oaks is to come into town, and very often unsafe for people to cross at areas. So I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Comcast has a pretty extensive network already for their hotspot. So I'm just wondering if we are able to pay them to turn it on for everyone versus just Comcast customers. That way there's no infrastructure, there's just enablement.
So that's not Comcast, but to a similar vein. So in my other life, I had actually had a conversation with some of the folks at CenturyLink, right, down on the Clinton Township side there, and we were talking about countywide and some other towns regarding something like this. And they had said, though, that actually in the town of Clinton, I guess at some point I believe it was Black Potato, they had put up the infrastructure on some of the telephone poles going down Main Street where there was a hotspot at some point, where in a similar vein, it could be turned on. So the only thing that, if that was the case, the only thing that would occur would be obviously a long-term cost of, paying for that internet service. But the actual infrastructure is in place.
I'm gonna show you guys a map. Yeah, because I've heard that too. But this is let me get this out of the way. This is the map of Comcast. So all the blue marks, that's where they already have hotspots. So pretty much it's covering the entire thing. So if either CenturyLink or Comcast or even maybe Verizon also has them. we negotiate with them, get the best rate, and ask them to turn it on. I'm sure there's going to be a fee involved, but if we can get the grant to cover it, that would be great.
Yeah, right now the hotspots, you have to be a Comcast customer in order to use one of their hotspots.
Right.
Right, but what I'm saying is that maybe
Yeah.
we negotiate with them to pay a fee to turn them all on for everyone.
Right. Okay.
Question, if they turn them on for everyone, would that, for the people living around there in their homes, that maybe their concern would be that other people would be getting free internet. Ross, my concern with CenturyLink, as someone who reached out to CenturyLink not very long ago, I was trying to remove myself from Comcast, and they sent a technician out to my house. They had everything all set up, and then neglected to tell me until the technician was on my doorstep that they don't have any service in town. So I don't know, maybe they do have some things in place, but this was just I want to say in the fall. So I don't know. That left a bad taste in my mouth. I would like to find out if they really do have some of that stuff left over from Black Potatoes that we can tap into, because that might get us around the Comcast issue. But they also have a much slower internet access, I believe, than Comcast. Is that right?
They do generally. Okay, so it sounds like, moving forward, what I'm hearing is the two things that stood out for people were the idea of this jitney service and the hotspot. So I think what we'll do is I'll go back to work with the Economic Development Committee, sort of hash through those two options and bring a proposal to the council in the next meeting, not Wednesday night meeting, but the next whatever day we're meeting, because I can't keep up with when we meet. It'll be in my calendar, right, Mike? It better be. And we'll probably need a resolution from council saying that you support us seeking this, the town supports seeking this grant, as we always do when we seek a grant. So Mike, Sherry, and I will go back to the committee, work through those two options, and come back to you guys with one that we're going to move forward with. If somebody has very strong feelings about one or the other, feel free to call me or whatever, email, text, whatever it is, and let me know. But those are the two we're going to move forward with, and we'll figure it out, and I'll get back to you guys at the next meeting so I can save you from continuing on, because I still have more to report. Sherry, yeah.
Just real quick, a third idea that was thrown around was a community garden. I'm just curious, have we ever tried that in town? Is that something we've ever attempted or pondered?
I asked the Maddens, who do somebody help me.
The current
Conservancy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kathy was like, yes, let's do it, but there's nobody to do it, was kind of what she was like, this sounds great, but who's going to do it and where could we do it?
For the park renovation, we've bounced around the idea of utilizing some of the space for a community garden, because we're discussing just design, so that has been thrown around, so that is a possibility.
And Seal, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we have one at one time back behind Pond Ridge?
I don't recall that.
No, they just put one in to Pond Ridge on the backside, near Twin Ponds in that area. There's also, the Conservancy also put a garden area near Water Street. And they put one,
those gardens, the flowers.
And Hunts, no, wait a minute, but let me finish. So the difficulty is that no one's maintaining them.
Yeah, but that's also not what we're talking about. We're talking, community gardens are more along the lines of, it's a,
I understand.
It's food. Each person gets their little plot to grow food on.
Yeah, I thought there was something was underway to do one over at Pond Ridge. and maybe they just didn't move forward with it. It was when I first came on as mayor that they were working on it. I don't know that they ever moved forward with it because they couldn't get the support to maintain it.
I mean, I think it's a prime moment. I mean, Sherry, you had mentioned this, and it came up in it actually came up at the committee meeting.
I mean, you can't
people
go
are
on
into it all of a sudden, so.
like Burpee online, seeds are sold out. Everyone's, after all the hoarding and the pandemic and the freak out, everyone's like, I'm going to grow my own food. So now I feel like there's a lot of people with seeds and materials and maybe space if you live in town or necessarily know how.
Right.
To build a garden.
So I brought that up when Mike and I were talking about it. I know that Reddington Township has a community garden. I'd be happy to look more into that and see what kind of mechanism is that they make that work. I think, Megan mentioning at the Halsted Street Park, I mean, that'd be a beautiful spot for it. And we can always look at others, but I'd be happy to explore that. I mean, maybe that could be something, even if it's not through this avenue, that, Shade Tree Environmental could have a conversation about. Because I think it would be a great thing for our community.
I can also check in with Rutgers Agricultural Extension Agent. They have the farm down in Pittstown, which is one of their satellite farms. They do a lot of agricultural research there I've written about. So I can check in with one of the extension agents to see if they have, I don't know if they offer services in this regard. So Ross, if you want to check with Reddington, I checked in with Reddington for their about their recreation program for Summer Rec. They were super helpful. So hopefully you have a similar experience when you reach out to them, and I'll check with Rutgers.
All of the community gardens that I know, they're fenced in properties, and so that could. It could be a sizable cost to put a large fenced-in property. So I think we would need to take a look at whatever the property is and find out the square footage of fencing we would need to make sure that we're putting in a proper grant.
Well, I don't know that this would. I don't think we can gather this information in time for the for this particular round of grant funding, but that doesn't mean we can't find other grant funding for it. I mean. We find grant funding all the time. So.
Folks in the community who might be interested in donating supplies too.
Yeah, I mean, you might get Fox Lumber interested, and you might get some of the local businesses interested. If there's some community involvement, you might get the school interested. If we can get the kids involved in some sort of STEM, whatever it's called now, program. As long as it's not grammar, I don't care.
That was the idea about possibly putting it into the park design, because there's the area where the tennis courts currently are that possibly can turn into a garden where the fencing, and then built into that grant and money funding for that. And also the idea of incorporating multiple different committees within town and also the school into this community, gathering place.
Yeah. I think that sounds awesome. And even if it was, Megan, even if it doesn't fit it feels so weird not to be able to see your face. Even if it doesn't fit entirely within the confines of the playground, I mean, it could be something we do and it's somehow connected via, some sort of STEAM programming from the playground to whatever other park in town. So making the town even more walkable and more connected. So, I think all of it could be designed such that it is interconnected and keeps the town even more cohesive. So I will just quickly go through the rest of the updates so you guys know what economic development is up to, and then I will stop talking, I promise. The townwide economic development study proposal, we are moving forward with finding an expert to partner with. As everybody probably is already aware, there's a freeze on grant funding from the state. So we are just getting everything prepared so that when that freeze is released, we will submit the proposal and hopefully get the funding and move forward with getting that study done. The marketing brochure that we showed everybody, I don't know when, who knows what day it is, some time ago is complete and will be sent to you, Mike. Sherry has it done. And we'll go up on the website. So once that's up, check it out. Let us know if you see any typos and we'll fix them and then we'll put it back up. We're also investigating, this was Sherry's idea and I think it's a great one. We're gonna start investigating how to reach out to some of our absentee property owners, commercial property owners, meaning absentee, meaning they don't live in town, not that they're not good property owners, just that they don't actually live here, and do some surveying to see kind of how they're doing, what's going on with them as property owners who own commercial properties but don't live here. So, what do they need from the economic development perspective? Are they, is everything going okay? How can we help them? That kind of thing. So we're going to look into how to do that, probably through some sort of Survey Monkey or survey program, and just gather some information and start working with those folks. And I promise that's all I've got.
All right, Sherry?
Land use board was pushed to May 5th. It has now been canceled. Next meeting is June 2nd. And that's really, we already talked about all the other stuff. So that's all I got.
All right, Ross?
Yes, as I mentioned before, Historic Commission was working on a virtual historic walking tour. We did complete that. So looking at maybe possibly next week, getting that out on the Facebook page. I don't want to interfere with the Share the Love campaign. So I'll look at maybe putting that out next week unless there's something else that was planning on happening. No?
So
Okay.
is this something that's long-term or is it just a one event thing?
Not necessarily an event, right? It's just it is a map, a virtual map that has the various sites that are in the historic brochure that we have physically printed now, but actually put on a digital platform. So it'll be put out as something for people to take advantage of doing during this time, whether that be, sitting at home and kind of going around town and or when people are on their walks. We also discussed in our meeting that we had via Zoom, reaching out possibly to the school. If there was any opportunity, obviously we know that, teachers are very busy right now and students are trying to figure everything out, but possibly if there was a chance for maybe some of the history teachers in like the middle school to integrate that in as, something where maybe one of the students could go and look at a particular historic building and write about it or something. So it'll be something that would be up, now during this time, but would be able to stay available to the public kind of here on out. So it basically, like I said, takes our brochure from a physical copy to a physical and virtual copy.
Well, the reason I ask is maybe we put it onto the website and from the website, then we push it out. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, Ross. Oh, sorry. I'll make it really quick. Ross, I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Hanachevsky Jr. I don't know if have you seen his videos?
Yeah.
So I didn't know if, I was thinking it the other day and I completely forgot to reach out to you. I don't know, it'd be great to maybe reach out to him through Historic to see if he might want to come to town and maybe do one of those videos that he's been doing in front of some of the other, historic buildings. Or maybe just, kind of, I don't want to steal his thunder because that's pretty much what he's been doing, going around Hunterdon County and giving a really lovely little history lesson that I've shown my daughter because it's pretty cool. So maybe that could be something to incorporate into that. I don't know. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Sorry, Megan.
And he would definitely do that.
I was just going to say, when I was in high school, I didn't go to high school out here. I went to Immaculata, which is in Somerville, which is another historic town. And part of a couple of the history classes and some of the art classes was to go around town and take pictures and write reports on different buildings and stained glass and things that were incorporated into these older buildings. So I think it's a really good idea. And if you need any help or ideas, because I've had to do it, I can definitely help.
Definitely. Thank you. That's awesome. So.
And I'll tell you that Allie's excited about it because that was one of her favorite things.
And then the other thing that I also mentioned prior, the Shade Tree Commission is looking into taking Arbor Day virtually. They were trying to see if they could get it for actually this Friday, which is Arbor Day. Just the time frame and figuring some of that out wasn't possible. However, I have been told by John Cashwick that we don't technically have to do it on Arbor Day. Janice, you can declare it any particular day as mayor. So hopefully if they can gather that together soon, we can make that happen. And then the thought process would be to plant the tree, and the spot that seems to be the main one right now would be on East Main Street. There is one of the cherry trees there that is actually missing, so it would be to replace one of those trees and then have that be recorded and then be able to share that out.
Okay. Yeah, just keep us posted when we're going to do it.
Yep. And then I think that is all.
All right. And just a couple of things. Everyone, give kudos to Chief Kubanak because he's got his striping on Old 22. Has it made a difference, Chief?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had enough traffic to really warrant, but.
Right, no traffic.
But you got your striping.
I like it.
It looks good.
It looks very cool. Obviously Earth Day today is, it's 50 years celebrating Earth Day. So for that, I know a number of individuals were out picking up trash along the river, along the streets, pretty much within their neighborhoods. So if we can just continue to encourage, because it seems that trash on either trash or recycling days, we have a lot of stuff blowing around.
Well, the one good thing about, if we have any good things that's happening with the COVID-19, it's that the Earth has seen almost a 6% reduction in carbon emissions.
Right. And you all got an email from me to join the Proactivity competition. It's a friendly competition. You all have to join it. And the money that you put in, this time is going to go to the Red Mill. But we need to beat all those other towns.
What do we do?
They're going to give you different things. Just do the basic one. It could be like 5 jumping jacks, and then you accomplish that. It could be, I did the very basic so that no one can say they can't do it.
Is there like a 5 shots of whiskey in that one?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
You're not making me run a marathon. I'm in.
You don't have to run a marathon.
What if you do?
What's that?
What if you do? Do you get more points?
Well, yeah, then you get more points, but then you got to go. Then you can go do the higher one. You and Lisa can sign up for the higher one. Just make sure you join Clinton Town Strong Team.
Got ya.
So
when does it start?
The last day to register is May 1st. It will start right after that, and I think it's a 4-week. What you do is, and you do it individually. You go in and you check what the activity is that you have to do. You do the activity. You confirm you did the activity. And your team gets points. So we have to win. Everyone. No one, and kids can be
an
part of
activity.
this. This is kid friendly. So I'm just putting it out there. And Maren, you have to join Clinton.
We're on that in this house.
All right. Next is standby and overtime. Can I have a motion to approve standby and overtime?
Sherry, so moved.
Second? Can I have a second?
Mike, second.
All right. All's in favor? Opposed or abstentions? And this is a roll call.
Okay. Councilwoman Lisa Interpartola, yes. Councilwoman Sherry Deneen, yes. Mayor Janice Kovac, yes. Councilwoman Ross Traphagen, yes. Councilwoman Megan Johnson, yes. Councilwoman Riley Karsh, yes. And Councilman Michael Humphrey, yes.
All right. And can I have a motion to pay the bills?
This is Lisa, so moved.
Ross, second.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? And this is also roll call.
Councilwoman Sherry Deneen, yes. Councilwoman Lisa Interpartola, yes. Councilman Michael Humphrey, yes. Councilwoman Megan Johnson, yes. Mayor Janice Kovac, yes. Councilman Ross Trabhagen, yes, and Councilwoman Riley Karsh, yes.
All right, does anybody have anything else? All right, with that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night. 30.